Welcome back to Let's Be Frank, a storytelling podcast where you, the all-important listener, get the opportunity to be one of the fate that directs Frank's actions and decisions. When last we left, Frank and his friends, along with Levanance and the newly discovered children, were trapped in a cave with the only exit being filled with creatures. What will Frank do next? An all-important listener named Rick measured everything carefully and made a somewhat humorous suggestion to Frank. So with a grin, Frank looked to Joanna and said,
Is it just me? Or did the creatures stop coming forward?
What do you think they're waiting for?
Maybe they're waiting for an arrow.
Wait, not yet.
Wait here, guys. I have an idea.
The others kept their weapons trained on the creatures as Frank made his way to the door.
Hey, Mog, let me in. It's me, Frank.
How Mog know it really Frank?
Really, Mog? Open the door.
What password?
Ashinarundu.
Instantly, Mog moved the door and sat it aside. Frank made his way in and approached the oldest child of the group.
Hey, I know you're scared. I am too. But I need your help right now. Who put you in the chairs after the creatures dragged you into this cave?
I'm not sure, sir. It was always Doc and the person never spoke. At least not clearly. Are you dying?
No. I have mold allergies. Do you remember what you were doing when you were attacked?
I was gathering watercress and singing when the creature came charging over the rocks. Is your allergy catching?
What? No, you can't catch an allergy.
That was like me, only I was gathering kindling.
Wait a second. Were you singing too?
I think so?
Excellent.
Frank ran out of the room as Mog was returning the door back to its defensive position.
Welcome back, Frank.
Hey, have they moved?
Not a bit.
It's like they're waiting us out.
Or maybe they're waiting for the magic moment.
Standing between Joanna and Levanance, Frank placed his right hand on his chest and extended his open hand outward toward the creatures.
In the days of spring, my heart would sing for dear sweet Mary Drother. The world thought she would marry me, except, of course, her father.
As Frank sang, the creatures became visibly angry and began coming down the tunnel. Frank immediately stopped, and the creatures did as well.
So, you sing as well?
I don't blame her father.
What?
Oh, nothing.
It seems the creatures would appear to be provoked with singing.
That's what I was hoping for.
Oh, no, you're not thinking.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Frank ran to the back of the cave again, banging on the door once more.
Mog, we need you out here.
Moving the door again, Mog came out.
Mog thought Mog hold door, protect kids.
Look, buddy, you can do that by coming out here.
What Frank need Mog to do?
Mog, buddy, pal, friend, amigo, companion. I need you to sing for the creatures, okay?
Sing?
Yeah, my singing wasn't good enough, and even Joanna can't sing like we need you to sing, alright?
Smiling broadly, Mog began making his way toward the creatures.
Mog voice needed. Mog sing for everyone.
Mog walked to the front of the group, clearing his throat.
Mog don't need warm up. Mog always ready to sing.
And then Mog began to sing.
When Mog was a young orc, Mog met a girl so mean. The day after she beat me down, Mog knew she was Mog's queen.
The creatures clutched at their ears, howling in pain, and began trying to get out of the reverberating cave.
Look, it's working. Oh, God, it's on my shirt. It's in my boots.
What?
Get your fingers out of your ears. Let's chase them out so we have more room to fight.
Mog continued to sing as the creatures began running from the cave into the light outside. Talana followed the rest of the group out. The battle did not take long, and soon all of the creatures were on the ground.
That was playing dirty, Frank.
A win's a win. I don't even care at this point.
I'm just glad we all got out.
so I could help. I'll go get the kids.
As Talana headed in to get the kids, the others stood around to discuss other matters.
Well, that settles things.
Does it, though? We put the kids in that room. Why are they being gathered?
It's on your shirt, Frank.
Oh, I know. You don't have to tell me.
And what was behind the other door that we couldn't get into earlier?
You all make valid points. But don't you feel that the safety of the children should be our top concern?
Of course it is. That's why I was going to ask you to watch over them while we get Joanna to open the door.
What about that explosive rune?
It wouldn't be the first magical door that I've penetrated.
Great. So that's settled. You and Talana can watch the kids, and we'll open the door in the cave.
Huh. Very well, but be careful.
As Talana exited the cave behind the children, one of the creatures on the ground suddenly sprang up behind her and went to attack.
Watch out!
Behind you!
Neither Levanance nor Joanna could use their arrows as Talana stood between them and the creature. Chanting quickly, a ball of magical fire erupted from her outstretched fingers. The creature quickly dodged as the fireball passed him and began entering the cave.
Oh god.
What?
Run!
The group ran quickly with the other children as there was a deep rumble within the mountain. Smoke and dust fell from the cave and collapsed, flattening the creature with its debris.
Is everyone okay?
More or less. Joanna?
Landed tits first, damn it. Kids?
We're okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't
Well,
mean...
it looks like that's the end of magical fun time for today. What were you thinking?
I didn't mean... It was an accident.
An accident that you tried to slay a 2-foot-tall creature with magic the size of a house?
I panicked.
You panicked?
Alright, that's enough. There's no need to be a jerk.
No, there is, Frank. Someone could have died out here today because this mage wasn't concentrating on what...
I'm not a real mage, remember? That's what you told Frank when we first met him. Remember?
The silence was deafening between them.
Talana,
Talana turned and walked away from Ulrich, moving to the kids and wrapping her arms around them.
Come on, children. Let's get you home.
Mog, Joanna, and Levanance trailed after Talana and the children, leaving Frank and Ulrich.
What?
You know. Eventually, we'll talk about it. Just not right now.
And why's that?
Because I'm angry, Ulrich. And I know that words spoken in anger cannot be taken back, only apologized for with the hope of forgiveness later.
By sunset, the group made it back to town with the children. Shauna's sister ran into her outstretched arms. She turned to look at Frank.
We made it back. Found your sister.
Smiling a kind smile and thanking the group, Shauna took her sister and, while keeping a safe distance from an infected-looking Frank, left to take her home. That night at the inn, there were many toasts to the heroes of the realm for saving their children and defeating the creatures.
Hey, Ulrich. Step outside with me.
Watching intently, Ulrich stood and headed to the door, Frank right behind him.
They're not going to fight, are they?
Frank? Nah, but by the time Frank is done with him, he might wish he had taken a beating instead.
Outside, Ulrich stopped and faced Frank.
So, not mad anymore, Ulrich. I'm worried. I've had time to think, and this does not seem like you.
Frank, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to...
No. Sorry, bud. You'll need to apologize to her, not me. I just want to know what got into you back there.
Well, to be honest, Frank, I was scared.
And that's why you yelled like that?
No, that was... when I did stupid things, my father would sound like a booming mountain crashing down.
And how did you feel when he did that?
Honestly, scared.
Look, I'm not an expert with anyone here, but I do know one thing. She told me her teacher was cruel and vicious.
Ulrich looked troubled.
So, I guess I sounded just like him.
Yeah, probably.
When did she tell you about her teacher?
The very night we met.
I didn't know. Why didn't she tell me?
Maybe you hadn't understood her circumstances when you first met. You did tell me that she wasn't a real mage that same night.
I didn't really mean it like that. I meant she didn't have her official robing to be considered a mage in public.
Yeah, and I didn't have a degree back home to call myself an accountant, but, well, here we are.
You're right, Frank. I should go and talk with her, if she'll let me.
Awesome.
Oh, and one other thing, Frank.
Yeah, alright.
Do you remember when I said there was no manner of return where you are victorious which Shanna would not fall in love with you?
Yeah, I remember.
Ulrich handed Frank a handkerchief.
I was so wrong.
You had this the entire time. Seriously, what happened to sharing is caring?
Meanwhile, back at the inn, Mog found himself in quite the predicament.
There was a young harlot from Kew who filled up her girl bits with glue. She said with a grin, if they pay to get in, they'll pay to get out of it too.
Mog think Joanna had enough tonight.
Take me to bed, orc boy.
Mog scooped up the inebriated Joanna and turned to face the stairs.
Mog be back after putting Yodel and Keg to bed.
As Mog walked to the stairs, Levanance turned to Talana, who was staring into her untouched mug of ale.
You know, it's really hard for normal men like Ulrich to understand complicated issues like magic.
And you think you do?
Completely? No, of course not. That's why I use a sword. However, it's also why my sister became a mage.
Talana looked up, her puffy eyes looking tired from the events of the day.
You see, the larger issue I had to learn from my sister was that I had a tendency to take what she did for granted.
Sometimes I feel like that.
Exactly. Finally, one day, we were out and I needed her help, and well, she didn't do anything. Now, obviously, it didn't kill me or anything, but, without her help, my struggle was far greater.
I'm not sure I couldn't not help if he needed it.
Even if it teaches him a valuable lesson and increases his respect for you?
At this moment, Frank and Ulrich came back inside from their talk.
Hey, Levanance. Let's go grab another ale.
Levanance stood and followed Frank, leaving Talana and Ulrich alone. Ulrich sat down across from Talana.
Talana, I want to apologize. My behavior was irresponsible, reprehensible, and beneath the bar I set for myself when dealing with my friends.
Talana watched Ulrich silently.
Will you forgive my dishonorable words?
If you'll stop using words bigger than Frank, then sure.
Shortly thereafter, all were seated around the table except Joanna, who was passed out upstairs.
You know, though there was no promise of pay or anything like that, this was a very positive experience. Is this what you guys do all the time?
It is.
These guys are the greatest.
Mog like helping people. Helps others learn not all orcs are violent beings.
So, about that song of yours, Mog.
Mog will break Ulrich Lady Man.
I remember reading about groups of heroes going on great quests for the betterment of people, but I never imagined that I'd cross paths with one.
I wouldn't get too poetic about it. They just want to leave places better than they found them. And I kind of want to help them do that.
Then, if I am not imposing, allow me to offer my blade as a continued service.
No, not a good idea.
Mog, what's wrong?
Mog no completely understand, but Mog really feel this is not right.
Come on, buddy. He's fought by our side. I mean, he helped us find the kids. He's got a cool sword.
But Frank, Mog feel...
Look, you had a bad first impression. That's no reason to judge him harshly. I mean, weren't you just telling me that you wished people didn't feel afraid whenever they saw you?
Frank, that different.
Is it, though?
The table was quiet for a few seconds, until Levanance spoke up.
If Mog here doesn't feel that he can trust me, then I will respect that, even if I disagree with that.
You're a good man to say that, Levanance. And Mog knows that isn't the way the world works.
The table fell quiet once more.
In village where Mog born, every vote was a thing. A rock, a stick, representing you.
Mog reached into his belt pouch and retrieved a stone and placed it on the table before Frank.
Mog trust Frank. Frank have my vote. Mog goes sleep now. Mog tired.
Mog made his way to the stairs, leaving the four at the table.
Joanna would need to vote too.
Unless the number of yes votes were too large for her vote to matter. Frank, what is your vote?
I see no reason to deny him. He wants to do good. We need all the help we can get.
I agree. So that's 3 votes. Talana?
He saved our lives in the cave by seeing that carving in the door when I could not. He has my vote.
It may not be unanimous, but welcome to the group, Levanance.
The group lingered a bit more before everyone headed upstairs to the rooms, except Levanance, who wanted to finish his drink. Minutes later, Levanance walked from the inn and down the street to a large Pomerian tree, its tiny purple flowers beginning to bloom. A cloaked and hooded figure was waiting for him there.
That was most impressive. You are working threads of discord through them even as we speak, I see.
It's not an overtly difficult task. Granted, I had to destroy my project before its completion, lest they get through the door and know that it was mine.
You will be well compensated for your troubles.
Before this is all over, I will kill Frank.
I have already said this once to another, but do not underestimate him. He is connected to divine.
I will not underestimate him like she did.
And you still feel you do not require additional power from me.
The power I control of my own will be plenty enough to take care of this entire group.
Good. How do you plan to accomplish this?
Through gaining their trust, and then breaking it when it is needed. The orc doesn't trust me at all, however. I don't understand why.
It is no riddle to me. He is a shaman.
A shaman? A life dealer. That would make sense.
Now go. Do as you have promised to do, and you will be rewarded as we discussed.
Of course.
Levanance turned and walked back to the inn.
Ah, the great Pomerian tree. Symbolic throughout the ages as a tree of royalty. Now, merely another useless plant, as the trees no longer bear fruit. Fitting, I imagine.
And with that, his form shifted and blended into the darkness he stood within. The next day, Ulrich, Mog, and Talana were off to fetch the horses. Frank and Levanance were downstairs waiting on Joanna.
Did anyone see the brands on that herd of cattle that ran over me last night?
Ah, you're awake!
Against my better judgment. Lev, you're still here.
Yeah, he offered to join us, and everyone said yes, except for you and Mog. Well, I mean, Mog gave me his vote to cast, so I guess it kind of counts.
So we have another someone to say from themselves like you. Right, Frank?
You're such a kidder, Joanna. I'm gonna go and see what's taking the others so long.
Frank stood and walked out from the inn. As Levanance moved to follow, Joanna's hand landed hard on the table before him.
I'm only going to say this once. You repeat it, I'll brand you a liar. Mog is orc, and therefore used to seeing the absolute worst in people. Strangely enough, it makes him acutely aware of people and their intentions.
Joanna leaned in very close to Levanance.
Mog is the best judge of character that I know. If he doesn't like you, then neither do I. You watch yourself and know that I'm watching you too.
One slip, and I'll make you wish you never met us.
Standing, Joanna turned and looked out the window, and seeing her friends, smiled and waved. She turned and looked back at Levanance, her smile unfaltering.
And I mean that.
Levanance watched as Joanna left the inn with a bounce in her step and a smile on her face. Slowly, he followed her out.
Yay! You got my horsey!
Yeah, why is it always dancing when we... Oh, wait. Hold still, Joanna. You have something in your hair.
Frank reached over and pulled a couple of small purple flowers from her hair.
I woke up with the shutters open in my room. Probably just blew in when I was snoring.
Luckily, you weren't pulling out the entire tree from her hair then.
Or convincing a Tarrasque you weren't singing his mating song.
Poor Tarrasque. Would never know what hit him.
As the group were standing around the horses and preparing to leave, a young man came running breathlessly up to the group.
There are...
Slow down and breathe.
Sorry, sir. It's just I overheard men coming into the town. The village west of here was being overrun by zombies and skeletons.
Zombies?
Skeletons? Young man, where are those men now?
They're right over... Wait, where did they go?
Magno's seen men over there.
But it's true. I heard them.
I believe you. We'll talk about it and see what we can do.
As the boy walked away, Levanance chuckled softly.
Ah, to be that young again.
What does his age have to do with anything?
No, think about it for just a moment. Heroes of the realm, coming to save children from creatures and succeeding. Imagine being the one to have the knowledge we need. It's just almost fanciful.
I don't know, he seems sincere.
I seldom rely on the advice of children.
Yet it was the descriptions given by a child that led us to find the other children and the creatures.
Mog think child speak truth. So, Frank, what we do?
Frank was a little torn. He knew how children could be when around popular people and didn't want to go out on a wild goose chase. But at the same time, he didn't want to just disregard the rather sincere words of a child who warned them of danger. Frank closed his eyes and reached out to the voices of the Fates, asking their guidance once more. Quickly, he had an answer. He looked to the group and said, "Well, what did Frank say? To be honest, I'm not entirely sure myself. Remember when I told you that you, the all-important listener, would be the steward of poor Frank's fate? Well, you really are. What will Frank do next? You tell us." To do that, you can visit letsbefrankthepodcast.com and click on the What Would Frank Do button, and in 500 characters or less, tell us what you think Frank should do next. You can also join us on our Facebook page to let us know there, or leave a comment in the comments area of our YouTube channel. Remember, you are the fates controlling Frank's fate. Let's try not to let him down. Some of the music and sound effects in this podcast come from Tabletop Audio. If you're running a game, the perfect background music and sound effects can be difficult to assemble, but with Tabletop Audio, you can play songs fitting your campaign and use sword clangs and magical bursts to set the mood for the adventure and take your game to the next level. For your next RPG game, visit tabletopaudio.com. The rest of the music comes from Kevin MacLeod's brilliant website, Incompetech.com. If you're looking for music for your podcast, Kevin has composed more than 2,000 royalty-free songs released under the Creative Commons license. So when you need music, think of Incompetech.com and tell him that Frank sent you.
When Mog was a young orc, Mog met a girl so mean. The day after she beat me down, Mog knew she was Mog's queen. Mog went up to the hilltop to kill her something nice. But when Mog came back down with it, She beat Mog soundly twice. Mog wanted her to be Mog's. Put her name on Mog's door. But when Mog asked to do that, she whipped Mog 3 times more.